We're just watching some of the world's top players playing in Weikanze here. So today we're going to be doing a number of things on Lichess. My goal isn't to promote Lichess here, but I do very much enjoy gaming. I enjoy making games, and yeah, of course, promote the charity, the Video Game History Foundation, which I'm sure you've heard plenty about. But yeah, I'm glad to help out. Um, so I don't know. Some of you are probably much more familiar with chess than others. Um, Here we're having a chance to. This is amazing. Um, I've helped as a volunteer developer of the site for about a decade here, and as a chess expert who's played in national and international tournaments, I've provided some of my feedback along with everybody else who provides their feedback about how they design the site and add features to it. And it's just a wonder that this site is able to pull so many different things together. Um, yeah, so here we've got like the world's top 10 players. They're all approaching the time crunch that happens around the hour here. Like you can see, here's a move list of live games being played in Vaikense. You can see that these players are approaching move 40, and at move 40, like everybody's going to get some more time on their clock. But until then, all kinds of mistakes and excitement's going to happen on these boards. Um, yeah, so Lichess is a free software site um, that helps inspire other sites, and um, we I don't know, copy features from other sites and they do that from us. And it makes, yeah, these are 7 games that all started about 4 hours ago, with each player getting 2 hours on their clock. So these are all live games being played, relayed through the magic of the internet. And we, along with the other top sites of the world, have feeds. Uh, we've got engine evaluations of each game here, so like a casual spectator can get some sense of what's going on here. Um, so you can also, if you're logged into the web page and looking at the broadcast portal, you could run an engine yourself here, and it provides some insights as to like what the sequence might look like. Um, yeah, this is a work of art. The site, Lichess, has forever been a passion project of its lead developer, who was experimenting with new web technologies. And just the player base was so excited about this project that they continued sponsoring its development. But yeah, this is where you go if you want to play the world's fastest games. I'm not the world's fastest player, but I've played again nationally and even in some internationally rated events. I've done some coaching. Uh, yeah, I've won some state tournaments, so it's been pretty exciting. Um, yeah, but I guess this portal here. Oh, this guy's clock. He's got like 25 seconds to make one move until move 40. What's he gonna do? Yeah, yeah. Some people have been fortunate. Okay, so he made move 40. He gets a bonus time of 30 minutes, and everybody else in here is going to be going in a similar situation here. So I'm just going to keep flipping through these boards. But in a minute, we'll get to like the basic chess rules and tutorials and show off everything that the site has to offer. One of the more fun things that we're going to be looking at is alternate game rules. So what could happen if you could add the pieces back after you take them off the board? Um, Maybe that'd be more fun to watch. Yeah. I just find it amazing. Like, we've got a feed for this live match between all these top players, but if you're not, like, not in the know, I get it. It's a bit tricky to follow this stuff. Um, so yeah, let's move on to maybe something uh, easier to follow, I guess. Should we go over the basic game rules for um, anybody who might not be familiar? So this site here, I've cleared all the tutorials of the site. Some people on speedrun.com, oh, that'd be fun. We've only got so many variants here, but that's a fun one. I always liked it. Some people have made a speedrun.com category of just like learn chess. And so, yeah, let's first learn, like, here's the king. So king moves like one space at a time. It's pretty familiar. So I'm just, I don't know, really excited to show off learning things together. And then you can go, like, look at how the other pieces move, like the rook, where it goes in straight lines here, right? And yeah, they've used this to help teach chess around, oh goodness. Wait, there's a sequence here. Yeah, so I can go up and down and left and right, and you can get points for having nailed this the fastest. There was a game back in the 90s called Maurice Ashley Teaches Chess. I think I found it on the Internet Archive, but I assume the Video Game History Foundation also catalogs PC games. I'm not sure. But yeah, it had a training exercise pretty similar to this. So if I want to clear all these without wasting a move, it's a bit tricky. Wait, can I not jump these? Okay, so if I can't jump over them, that works. There we go. Yes, so we learn the bishop goes diagonally, right? And kids love doing these things too. It's just... I'm just impressed how many different things the site has to offer. So we've seen the rook, we've seen the queen, or the bishop. Queen moves like either the rook or the bishop, so you can go diagonally, or vertically or horizontally. Let's see. Okay, so I can pick this up and that, and then this. Yeah. I'm probably not going to get this right, because queens are tricky. I'm losing a move here. I spent a move without taking a thing. There is some ideal way to do each of these puzzles that... Anyway. And yeah, we've been through the king, so we can skip ahead to the knight. The knight moves like an L. So there's an L, there's an L. Go forwards and backwards. Well, that's tricky. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, and then the knight jumps over every obstacle here. But it can still do this funny little dancing thing. So, knights are the most confusing pieces. And I'd argue in speed chess games that having a knight's going to confuse your opponent. So, in that respect, it's an advantage to have the knight. Oh dear. Well, looks like I'm not getting a perfect score on that puzzle. That's okay. And then pawns move up the board and they promote. And you can pick which piece to promote it to. You probably want to take a queen, because we saw that queens can move to a lot of different spaces, but you could take a knight. Right? Yeah, this tutorial used to be so minimal. people could clear this in like a couple minutes, but we just kept adding more content to it. I don't know what the best clear time now is. So yeah, pawns work in tandem pretty well. So yeah, I'm glad our charity event was let me show off all this fun stuff. I like education, I like all this stuff, so yeah, the site lets you customize so many different things too, so that's how I'm able to borrow the assets from, oh goodness, if I'm to take, so here, this is defending this, this is defending this, this is defending this. So if I want to do a capture, I can't go here because the knight has that protected. So fastest route here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. Yeah, this is all defended here. So you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And pieces can protect each other. So this is attacked. This is likewise attacked. So we escape over here. But anyway, we've gone beyond the basic piece movement at this point. There's a whole bunch of basics here. Oh yeah, you have to checkmate and not get your king trapped. Oh, I haven't shown off castling. Yeah, I've been playing in public school forever with this. I think my dad and a neighbor were playing the game at some point. Yeah, I just thought that this is such a beautiful thing, seeing them play, and I wondered, like, hey, what's that? So, yeah, castling is this magic move for getting your pieces, your king to the edge of the board, and the rook out. Yeah, but I've had the fortune of being in such a populous state that there is an abundance of places I could go to play the game, which is not super common for this sport. Oh, nice. Yeah, I remember there was also an old game. Oh no, yeah, NES Battle Chess is just like the computer game, isn't it? Yeah, that's quite fun. Yeah, I think a number of games along the way helped inspire my continuation of learning things. Oh, then we have this fun little exercise. Let's try this out. So you can click on the squares, and it counts how many of these you click within the time limit. D8, A8. So these are all used for notation. And people who are faster can set their own records on the site. There's no global leaderboard. There is a funny video on YouTube of somebody using a script to like get 1,000 of these clicked within a minute. I learned it in preschool. I used to play with the teachers. That's really kind of them to volunteer their time like that. I remember when I was in public school, they allowed me to play. We were able to borrow chess sets and either bring them to the lunchroom, or in some cases we were even able to go to the library as long as we didn't make a ruckus about it. So we either have the choice of having lunch in an extremely loud and crowded room, which was exciting for everybody, or could have a change of pace and practice in a quieter space and teach more people how to play this game. Okay, Did I not start a timer? That's funny. Either that or I've got some style in the site that's breaking this. Let's see. Um, oh yeah. Yeah, this like everything that I use to run my overlay here is free software in some respect. So uh, it's amazing all the things that are out here. I am not even keeping up with all of it, but like here, somebody took some of the data from our relays of puzzles that have been played or games that have been played in the last month. Um, so these are some puzzles that showed up or could have showed up in actual games. Um, yeah, what was going on in this one? I forget. This is like some super brilliant combination. Was this it? No. Oh, cool. Um, and if I'm stumped, I can get a hint. I have mate in 1. Oh dear. Is that right? Oh, there it is. Of course. Um, so yeah, they've made puzzle packs out of positions from the recent event. So here, Black's king is boxed in, and Black either has to block the check or whatever, and then White can play Queen F7. Um, oh, I'm sure they'll take all the support they can get, but you have to figure out how to get the support into the system. Um, yeah. Anywho, so these are all puzzles from um, games that have been played in the last month. Oh, interesting. So I've heard people speak a lot. Duolingo, there's been a tremendous amount of marketing, I suppose, behind that. I've always struggled learning chess openings as much as I've been playing this game. Openings have just been, there's too much to learn. And I, I assume or believe that the work they've done has made it easier to learn, but it's still tricky. How do we do this? Reroute a piece and bring it into the attack. Wait, this? Really? Oh, that's cool. And if the pawn moves, then there's this fork that picks up the queen. Okay. I guess I get that. That's kind of cool, too. But we'll do some more interactive stuff here. So, in addition to these puzzle packs that users have produced, there's a standard puzzle portal here. I'll try my luck at this. I've got this browser extension with the free puzzle timer. Just trying out everything these days. So we got 1 minute to find the solution. But the solutions, we just promote the pawn, so it's not so hard. Oh wait, do I need to stop this? No, if I try to stop it, that ends poorly. I've seen this puzzle before. Wait, really? But then King H... Okay, whatever. So, hey, we got it. Although, admittedly, I missed a move earlier. So if we move this down here, we see my puzzle rating is below 2,300. Oh no. So we got a minute to find a move here. Let's see. Wait, is the goal just to win the queen? Because I can win the... Winning the queen's not enough. Oh, why win the queen when you can checkmate? These puzzles are tough. But yeah, in addition to this puzzle timer, there's other timed puzzle modes in the site. So let me do this one. It's a bit easier. So here you can build up this mode's called Puzzle Streak. And the objective is just to solve as many as you can. So there's one. We start off easy and get more difficult. So we promote the pawn here. Got this check. Let's see. Wait, why didn't they... Okay, I see. Yeah, and everybody continues supporting the charity foundation. And yeah. This is just like a passion project of its lead developer. So, not every passion project turns out as spectacularly as this one did. Which is in part why we want to have museums or places that preserve all the games, not just the most famous ones. Yeah. So if I take here, I check there. Let's throw the timer in this mix just for the fun of it. Oh. Okay, yeah, there we go. That's probably behind the QR code. We'll move that here. Yeah, so I got a minute to find a move. It's probably this one, right? Let's see. Oh, right, and we pick this material up, and yep, that's good enough. Then here, what's it here? Later on, we'll get into some of how I got first involved with the development of this site. And other chess-related stuff, like other variants, which are pretty fun too. Oh, that's funny. The timer got confused because I'm doing a different puzzle mode here. Oh well. Can I... Okay, so... Oh, if I check... That's tricky. Wait, no, I want to win the queen. That's the point of this. So these just progressively get more challenging. It's the idea behind Puzzle Streak. Wait, how's this? This is not checkmate. Am I supposed to just exchange and pick up the pawn, or do I have something better? Oh, of course, I win the rook. Okay, yeah, that's good enough. Then here we checkmate. So many of these are checkmates. So let's see. I'm gonna enable voice controls on the site. So this downloads a voice processing pack. Queen takes queen. King d7. King takes. Yeah, it's just, I'm just blown away by like what developers can do in collaboration together. Yeah, I don't know how to solve this here. I'd like to pick up this pawn. That'd be pretty cool. Is the bishop trapped? That's a trapped bishop. So we just win the bishop. Well, I have to take the rook, unless I... Just... No, the promotion threat's even better than taking the rook. So we don't take the rook. And that's why... Yeah, many of these puzzles are generated from actual games that were played on Lichess. Often in positions that humans found confusing. Although there is some sampling bias when you do that. Wait. Okay, I was about to move the queen to try to checkmate. But no, this is check and that's mate. How many are we gonna get? I wonder. I could take, no, that's futile. If I take the rook, wait, if I take this, it's good enough, right? Yeah, white's up a piece. And then here, yeah, it's amazing that we have so many free art assets to work with. Wait, I have to take this. And the trick is to keep the king in front of the pawn. Cats own the world and we just inhabit it. That's pretty funny. Um, um, so, wait. How's white gonna win this? Black's up a rook. White plays pawn d6, pawn d7. Oh, okay, and then you check with the rook. Okay, and then you do this, and okay, if they did rook takes, we'd probably do rook takes here. But white, even if you manage to trade this rook for this pawn, that's still not winning. Oh no, it is. If you, strictly speaking, if you're able to keep all the rest of these pawns, it's enough of an advantage. Yeah, that works. Here we got king f6 threatening mate. And there we go. Yeah, these will just keep getting more and more difficult. Puzzle Streak is... there's also other timed puzzle modes, and there's a public puzzle race mode, which is just kind of nuts. Alright, so I win the rook, so that's good enough. Oh, unless I'm getting perpetual check or something, but that's not happening. I take here. No. I mean, what else am I gonna do? That's weird. Like, obviously the key is to do this, but how does it work? Unless white is, or black has a different move here, but what could you have? Yeah, so, that's actually, it varies by puzzle. So some of these will say on them, oh, there used to be puzzle tags and categories here. Yeah, for this one, what the heck? Oh, my queen's defended. I'm not losing the queen, so I take 2 rooks, and then I take the queen. So I do the first capture. Wait, my rook's hanging. But your knight's hanging, so this is good enough. Okay, there we go. Yeah, for me, as I start to get around puzzle 30, that's when things start to get tricky. And like every 5 puzzles, they step up the difficulty. So it's not going to be long before I mess up here. But yeah, we could see that these players were playing a game, a 5-minute game on the site. And this is a position where one of the yes, yeah. Each puzzle has exactly one best solution, which can lead to some metagaming. Yeah. Some of these are easier than others. Let's see. Wait, so I just check and mate, right? There's nothing else going on here. Okay. King's in the corner. Queen e1 mates. Yeah. But yeah, players, after they play a game, can request engine analysis of the entire game. And our site remembers the evaluations from the games. And it's able to use them to generate puzzle sets like this. Wait. Yeah, so this is fun. So we exchange the bishop for the pawn, but then our pawn promotes. Good enough. Yeah. Again, I think like it'd be amazing to see every game get the level of attention that this game's gotten. So that's part of why I'm enthusiastic about the campaign here. Might take a while, but let's see. What else can we do? Wait, is this... No, if I go there, they exchange queens. No, but that wins. Winning moves are good enough. Exchange queens, so there's not a perpetual check. That's the trick there. This you'll find in a textbook, but also happened in an actual game. You can see the player ratings of the game from the game that this is sourced from. So sometimes the player ratings will be pretty high, especially for these trickier puzzles. Wait, why is this tricky? I just take the pawn and take the bishop. Oh, but the rook's hanging. Okay. So just kidding, we take the knight. Which is why the knight has to retreat instead, but then we get the bishop and our rook's not hanging. I want to take the queen, but does doing that win... Or, okay, the queen's loose here. Jeez, this is a tricky one. What the heck? What's going on? Wait, if I exchange here, then I can either escape the queen, or I break the pin, and then I can take this. So we take this first as a deflection tactic. Then escape the queen with check, then pick up this queen. Yeah. Every organization or site you play with tends to have its own way of rating players. I've helped in some minor ways with adjustments to the rating system on this site, but scientists have shared with us ALO and Glicko, courtesy of Professors ALO and Glickman, respectively. They shared formulas that have so many reference implementations out there. Yeah, so this site, like all the rest, does the same thing. We do have a leaderboard of players who have the highest ranks and ratings on the site. Oh, how does it determine the solution? Yeah. So, yeah, there's a threshold and a cutoff, and the solutions on these sites terminate. Sometimes it feels prematurely, but oh, I failed one. There we go. So I thought this check would be okay, and then I'd pick up the queen, or if that the rook took the knight, that I'd get to take this in the corner, but I missed that the bishop was covering that. So instead, the solution is take this first, and then if this gets captured, this, and we take the queen next. So that's the idea. But yeah, this is decided in some way. Let's go look at annotations on one of my games so we can see like what a blunder or what an inaccuracy and all that's all about. There's also a whole blogging platform built in here, but yeah, where's one of my games that has an analysis? Here's one. So we can see, oh, this is a game. I have 3 inaccuracies. My opponent has 1 blunder. The graph here doesn't highlight so well with this background, I guess. Here we see a sharp cutoff in this graph, and that's where the blunder got noted. Let's find a different example so we can see something that looks more prominent. So here's another game with some analysis on it, where we played a candidate master. And so you can see there's points on the graph where an engine evaluation of the position juts up and down. So like you would classify this kind of thing where it went from white's better to black's better, or vice versa. These would be mistakes. And depending on the severity of the mistake, again, based on some engine evaluation. Yeah. Yes, that's the idea. So engines use evaluations to help rank which moves the engine would play in the position. These have been used for debugging purposes for decades, and people have gotten to a point where they've got so accustomed at looking at like numbers and variations next to each other that people have some feeling of like what this number means. And so this has led to some consternation among engine developers as to like what the numbers should actually mean to humans, not just being used for debugging purposes. So here with best play, it's even, but if black makes a small mistake, then this engine regards the evaluation of this position as 1.4. But no, these numbers existed originally for debugging purposes only. But then developers had to try to also make them useful to the masses of people using these engines that were constantly providing feedback about how to improve the engine software. I think a year ago or so, the Stockfish team that develops this engine, they renormalized their evaluation to be based on winning chances. And they said, like, if it can win against itself 50% of the time, they called that a +1. Which incidentally, like, +1 tends to mean to humans that I'm just up a pawn. Which is not always a winning advantage. But here if we have something more like this, where it's can I get some more, I don't know. Let's find some other position in here. So here, this is a +2-ish. And yeah, as you can run a live evaluation on a position, the number is going to shift around a lot, depending on what hardware you're using, what software you're using to analyze with. Here the website natively allows you to run with some JavaScript, TypeScript, web assembly code but I've got my own selection of engine agents that I can pick from, including one in my own beloved Tadpole Pond. That's my own server that's on a remote computer analyzing the game. But yeah, these inflection points on the graph are what we consider to be mistakes and blunders and so forth. At one point before the engine developer renormalized their evaluation, I submitted a patch to the site to normalize the evaluations on behalf of that engine, so we could have better feedback as to like what's an inaccuracy versus what's a blunder. And this was able to highlight more minor errors as blunders, so that like players, many players have this, I don't know, how deep do we want to go into statistics at some point? Oh, I should also show off, like, you can watch live games, so the top players on the site who have the highest ratings. Yeah. Um, but as somebody who's analyzed way too many chess games over the years, both for self-improvement and helping teach other players, um, I I took it upon myself to that like I was not getting helpful analysis out of like when the site was annotating the games. Yes, it would note some blunders and some mistakes, but it was not providing anywhere near enough feedback for somebody who regularly plays in tournaments. So I tweaked the formula that was used to annotate the games, that's also used to generate the puzzles. And yeah, it's been a great collaboration with this site. That on occasion, as a chess expert, that also can do a little bit of coding here and there, and can help make the site better for everybody. So yeah, we're able to see here's top-rated players. Let's see, can we also get a faster game in here? So we can see, come on. Some people play some crazy fast games on the site, and if the site would be kind enough to load one of these for me, that would be delightful. If not, I guess people have just burned out playing too much Ultra Bullet. There's a 15-second category on the site. If white takes there, this is a pin that picks up the rook, but maybe white's got a counterattack. Oh, okay, but no, the knight's hanging at the end of the combination. Looks like our grandmaster messed up and gave away a piece. Yes, that's the correct reaction. 15 seconds for all of your moves for the entire game. It's crazy. Absolutely nuts. And is anybody playing it? Alright, show us another game. Yeah, it's wild. So they didn't even make it to move 40. Here's another one. Go, 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 go. Yeah. I don't know how they do this, honestly. There is lag compensation built into the site. Yeah, you can see them just throwing away pieces, trying to make the other guy run out of time. I think the lag compensation that I've also contributed a patch for to help make it more balanced. It allows people to make moves faster than you can in real life, I guess. And a win by checkmate. When does that happen? Yeah. So, it's some people on a different chess server had a hobby of like waiting until both players have 5 seconds remaining on their clock and then they try to play the game. Oh, interesting. I don't think we have anything quite like that. There had been discussion of controller support for perhaps accessibility is the wrong word, but ease of play. But one thing that has been a concern is like if we made it easier for people to script playing agents, then people are just going to load up an engine and wire it to the script. Or however you say that, that like if there's too many ways of being able to input a move, then some people are going to use that to cheat. So, yeah, we haven't gone out of our way to try to produce stuff like that. Wait, there was a browser extension people were using. What was it doing? It was like several years ago. It's all over our forums. What was the deal with that? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, there was something that made it somehow slightly easier to make moves, or I'm trying to remember. But it was nothing. Yeah, it's crazy that these people are able to do this. This is perhaps a bit overwhelming watching this. Oh, yeah, also if you play in tournaments, there's a button you can press to get an extra point in the tournament standings. You just have your time halved at the beginning of the game. So this is not a 15-second game. This is a like 8-second game here, which is just crazy. So that's what that little sword noise was there a minute ago. Yeah, it's hilarious. Yeah, there's just so many things that are on the site. I'm glad to showcase as many as I can. Um, oh, white bungled the checkmate. And now if they can take out all the pawns, they can draw it. Okay. And white wins on time. Oh, there's the weekly Ultra Bullet arena going on. That's why people are playing this. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of ways to detect players who are cheating. Although it is always an arms race, and in this decade, we're not at a point where the arms race has been lost yet. At some point, much to the consternation of people who have been playing this game online for decades on various sites, there's going to be a point where the arms race is lost, where AI is just everywhere. And then that leads to a question of like, okay, what am I playing against here? Is it a human? Is it a bot? And do I even care? It's my contention that like players have ratings on the site. You can see like this guy's 2111, this is 2259. And there's different ratings per like based for Ultra Bullet versus other speeds. So yeah, there's anyway, my contention was that people, as long as they think they're playing a human, at some point that's going to be good enough. And there's just not going to be enough interest in people running things that look human that aren't. Or at least they're, yeah. So if like people are cheating but somehow maintaining a beginner rating, that's not something that's most people are going to be interested in doing. A lot of people who do cheat, they just like take all the top moves from the engine and repeat them verbatim and like try to win as quickly as they can. Yeah, let's see. When everybody's using bots online, let's see. Yeah, the arms race is never going to end, honestly. But as long as people are enjoying playing and studying and learning together, then in most situations that's fine. This creates, you might have heard of the lawsuits. There's some suits a bit back where top player, former cheater, played in a real life tournament, did not cheat at the tournament, and beat the world's #1 player. And there's a whole bunch of fallout from that. But yeah, with online prize events, those are the ones that are most contentious, because those are the hardest to adjudicate. Yeah, players would go cheat online. A lot of players, there's lots of chess players in the world, and so online people can cheat, but then they can still play in real life events because they are under different jurisdictions or whatever. Yes, this is the explanation he gave, is that he wants to play strong opponents online, so he from time to time would use some assistance, and sites want to have good players on the site, right? You can't just like say no to really strong players. And a lot of players have broken the rules over from time to time. Yeah, it's a wild west out there. Um, but no, players might say, I'm just cheating to test if your site detects the cheaters, and there's just a lot of paranoia out there. It's unfortunate. Um, but yeah, I like the question that came up a minute ago. What about chess variants? Like, could we make one that AIs can't beat us at? Um, so let's show off. Like, here's one of the variants of the site. So here's one where if you make a capture, there's an explosion that happens and removes pieces in the vicinity of the explosion. So like here, this is taken and the queen's removed. And yeah, there's just, you can do a lot of crazy stuff customizing the rules of the game. There's one of these that is a custom game rule. If you just get your king in the middle, you win as an alternate win condition. I like, okay, that sounds fun. How do I learn more about this? Yeah, when did we get to explosions in chess? Yeah. So some people decide that chess isn't difficult enough on its own, that they want to make, or they're just bored of playing the standard game and they want to try something new and different. So this is how, over many years, other chess variants have come into vogue. Um, so one of these is if you could just get your king to the center, you win the game. And I'm like, okay, surely this is solvable, right? I could just like take the source code from Stockfish, the world's best free software engine, also the world's best engine. Um, and I could just add a rule into its source code telling it, okay, if you get the king to the middle, you win the game. Um, let's see. Oh, that's funny. Gathering resources, producing a base. Interestingly enough, there's been StarCraft AI contests too. XKCD has something about like difficulty progression in gaming or AI complexity for gaming. And I think Monroe, author of XKCD, correctly notes which games are easier or harder than others. And yeah, Google and DeepMind have been making their way through the list, one game at a time. You might have heard of the AlphaGo challenge, but no, it's amazing what researchers can do when they put their minds to it. Now, I was surprised here when Rook C8's happened. Shouldn't you just check with the Rook? Yeah, this is a tie. This is a draw here. So obviously the king can't take the rook because there's an explosion in the vicinity of the king if it takes something. So we're seeing this chase around, and black's king's not going to be able to escape it. So that's a draw. But now here's the king of the hill, king to the center variant. Yeah, also, let's please remember to support the charity event too, or the Video Game History Foundation. I've got a note here that says that they're dedicated to preserving, celebrating, and teaching the history of video games, and their archives provide rare material for study, and their advocacy and educational outreach bring everyone together to do their part in celebrating and discovering video game history. Yeah. So what we're doing here isn't just for this side, for me bringing awareness to like what happens when people collaborate for good cause. But now that's a fun thought. Yeah. Um, but let's see. Yeah, please do. Gamehistory.org is their site. Um, and yeah, I hope for future where we'll have much more in the way of educating people about video games and about science in general. Um, there's another variant out here with if you can make 3 checks, you win the game. So I took it upon myself to start a fork of the Stockfish chess engine. And turns out, like, when you make free software and publish it on a site with like 1 million users, at least some of those 1 million users out there, yeah, are going to take note of what you did. And they're going to start submitting patches to your passion project. It's like, I started making an engine to try to address some of these chess variants. There's one, yeah, since this is stalling a bit, let's take another look. So here's one where the king's not royal and captures are forced. So you'll see players exchange pieces a lot. And the objective is to lose all of your pieces. Yeah. So this is kind of a crazy puzzle in itself. I implemented some of the rules for some of these variants in the chess engine, and I started getting patches for here's how you can do this other variant, here's how you can do this other one. We have like 7 or 8 variants on this site here, some being more challenging than others to implement. But no, once you get the basic rules, writing a chess engine is a labor of love in itself. Yes, so the pawn takes and can even promote to a king, which is wild. Oh yeah, super hexagon and hex cells. It's just impressive, like when people work together, what they can get done together. Okay, and black is stalemated and wins the game. Then they've got this other one out here, which is Horde. We might get the chance to see one of these from the beginning. But here, white has no king. It's just like Space Invaders. So, if you've... Some people might make their own chess engines, but I wonder when that's going to become like just a standard assignment in school. Just make a chess engine, or make some game engine. Like, when is that going to become a more normalized thing? The thing that's most challenging about making a chess engine is getting all the rules implemented correctly. And then once you get that in place, such things as being able to evaluate a position to see if somebody's checkmated or somebody has more pieces than their opponent, or other kinds of evaluation aren't that hard to do. And they just incrementally make your evaluation function more sophisticated. But then you also want to make a search algorithm that considers which moves are best to play next. Oh yeah. And here, this site, we're just using 8x8 chess games, but yeah, other sites, there's even free software sites out there like PyChess that do all kinds of other variants. But yeah, my involvement with this site with Lichess started with me offering that, hey, if I made an engine that could help analyze some of these variants because I want to learn more about them. I was asking the Lichess team, would you be interested in hosting my engine or publishing it or whatever? Could we collaborate together? And they said, sure, that sounds fun. So, um, about a decade ago, I think it was, that I started getting involved here and wrote what we at the time were calling multivariant stockfish. Um, but yeah, it was stockfish with special evaluations for variants and ability to play all the basic rules of all these games. Yeah, there's Infinite Chess, um, which I think has recently been a source available or free software. Its author made a YouTube video of how they went about some of its design and development. Um, they explained there's some practical problems they had to solve dealing with numbers like infinity. Uh, oh, on chess.com, there's something quite like that. Um, so there's two games that have been kind of popular. One is called like Dark Chess or Fog of War. We don't have it on this site because, well, we haven't figured out how to implement it in a way that fits cleanly with. Turns out when you implement all these special rules, your code base kind of explodes in complexity. We haven't found a clean way to implement Fog of War chess where you can only see like things within your piece's range of vision. But yeah, then there's also Kriegspiel, which is even more confusing and interesting. But yeah, chess.com has implemented Fog of War chess. They've also got like 4-player chess and some other games over there. Yeah. And while Infinite Chess doesn't actually allow pieces to go to infinity per se, like um, there's still, when you're dealing with big enough numbers that it challenges browsers, you're having to implement your own data type for like how you count. So that's kind of fun. So I hadn't even gotten into, yeah. Let's take a look at the one. Wait, where is it? Somewhere in this list, there's Crazy House. Here it is. So, wait, that's not it. Yeah, it is. There's just surprisingly few pieces on the board. But you can have a bank of pieces that you've captured that you can put back onto the board. So, how many years ago was it? I don't remember. One engine developer that made an engine for this game were like dropped. Yeah, this is like Shogi. Exactly. Except in recent years, I've been much more passionate about Shogi than about chess. Because Shogi has a larger board and more diverse piece set. And all these pieces are just on the chessboard are really overpowered for what we're trying to do. Queen takes bishop, bishop drop mate. There it is. But yeah, this works like shogi here. I also had a Fabian Fichter out of Germany had submitted working implementation of this Crazy House game rule set. He'd submitted a pull request, a code patch to be able to evaluate and play this variant, which was incredibly kind of him. And of course, I accepted his generous donation. We spent part of later that year setting up a test server where versions of this engine would play against itself and tweak all these parameters to fine-tune its evaluation function. And to my surprise, there was also a tournament that a different Crazy House chess developer decided to host. And there were like dozens of chess variant engines submitted to this tournament. And somebody asked a question on our issue tracker, like, hey, are you going to submit your engine to play in this? I'm like, well, okay. I just learned about this event, but sure, that sounds fun. So that gave us a few weeks to tweak parameters and make sure that the time allotment for our engine was not moving too fast or too slow. We took a careful look at the time function. Let's see. I'm sure there's a site where they do that. We haven't gotten to that here. But no, there's definitely cylinder chess you'll find in literature. Yeah, there's a lot of books out there with chess puzzles for other rule sets. We just don't happen to have that implemented here. It'd be fun to get the Infinite Chess Guy to like implement some of those other things too, but he's probably busy. But yeah, I submitted our engine to play and compete in this chess engine championship for Crazy House. Having only a few weeks to tweak all the parameters, and turns out we won the contest, which was absolutely wild because like people have been working on these engines for many years, and here the dark horse Stockfish enters the tournament. I'm like, oh, well, that's news. Guess we won. But so it turns out the next year there was a rematch tournament, and they decided the format for that would be there'd be an open division, and then whichever engine wins the open division gets to play against Stockfish against my fork in a champion challenger format. And so, like, I think it was best of 20 or something in that final section. So you could bet that like we redoubled our efforts to try to make the engine as strong as possible. Yeah, it was wild. I was like, I didn't know what to expect. I'm like, okay, so I started from the Stockfish code base. We tried something novel, but having the months through the year, let's see. Yeah, there's some sites where you could play with custom game rules too, with custom pieces, but this ain't one of them. It sounds fun though. Yeah, I think, like, yeah, I think we're gonna see more and more and more things like that over time as we let scientists do more fun things. So, as much as this event here is about me just showing off this site and having fun, like, uh, more exciting to me is the notion that like we're supporting a charity, and as people learn more about these games, they'll be more inspired to do their own creative efforts too. We could see who knows what in the future. Um, but yeah, so we yeah we redoubled our efforts for that second year. Oh yeah, the site here, there's a lot of 2D and 3D sets to pick among here. I just happen to pick one that I think looks best for purposes of this, but I think I should also show off like the 2D, what this looks like on the site. So let me switch this over, because most people do actually play this in the 2D perspective. I think I've got a walnut board installed because that looks kind of beautiful too. So this is how most people generally... Actually, yes. So we've got all kinds of fun contributions on the sites. Like, you got this. We've got a lot of fun contributions. We have this for kids. We've got the geometric set. But yeah, no, we got ASCII pieces too. We got it all. You also got piece blind mode. So if you just like think that chess is too easy for some reason, yeah, you can like use other pieces. But yeah, we've gotten so many contributions over the years. But this is how people over the years have been accustomed to looking at games. They're not so used to looking at the 3D perspective, although I think it helps as somebody who's played real life events. So Black's piece bank here is empty. And White's probably going to start dropping pieces. Like, they're threatening knight takes and some kind of mate in short order, so Black has to mate here. Black's like 500 points higher rated. What happened? How are they losing this? That doesn't happen often. Oh, but they are at a time deficit, so they probably like did the whole going berserk thing that you lose half your time, but if you win the game, with the halftime you get extra points on the tournament standings. But if you lose, it's tough petunias. So that makes these matchups more exciting. Might wreak some havoc on the rating system, but I don't know. The rating system's pretty resilient. Yeah. But watching year 2 of the Crazy House Chess Championship, or the, yeah, computer, I forget, the CCVA, Computer Crazy House Chess Variant Association, or something like that. CCVA ran their second tournament. In spectating and doing live coverage, I was able to have my channel featured on the homepage of this website. They list live streamers. So I was doing live coverage of games that were being relayed through the site. They're being played on the host's machine elsewhere, and we like set up something through Google Drive or some other kind of file share just to get the game moves relayed. But yeah, so I was doing coverage of those games, watching, I think it was Immortal, at the time the world's second strongest, and I think now the strongest Crazy House engine out there. It uses some hyper complex model. It was getting torn apart by Stockfish. I'd seen tactical combinations in Crazy House that were just like beyond anything through all of my chess and all my Crazy House and other variants experience. I'd never seen combinations like the ones I saw that day. Like, oh, wow, these pieces. Turns out, like, when you start the game, there's 64 squares. Each player has 8 pawns, so, like, there's 16 pawns in total. And then there's 16 other pieces. So you're dealing with a board that's, like, half filled. And the pieces that are filling the board, also many of them are promoting. But the pieces filling the board, like, can span the entire board in many cases. Awesome, so we got some support. You can see what that was. I unfortunately cannot, but yeah, our purpose here is indeed to support the charity. So, yeah, I'm just relaying many stories of things that happened over the years. But and seeing just engines playing such incredible combinations, we got a better appreciation of just how the pieces move. And oh, wonderful. Um, and then I started turning my attention to shogi, and I'm like, okay, maybe this is something easier for humans. Um, because, yeah, these chess combinations, or these pieces, like, a knight can hit like 8 spaces at once. A bishop can span an entire diagonal cutting across the board. Um, if you have a board where like half the squares are filled in and all the pieces can span most of the length of the board, turns out you can do way more tactics than any human can keep track of. There was a grandmaster, U.S. champion, Yasser Seirawan, who frequently played against our engine. We could check on what's the last time he played it. Let's see. Oops, yeah. So here they've played 14,000 games on the site. Of those, 6,000 of them were Crazy House. Yeah. Oops. So, yeah, we could see they played many Crazy House games against other humans. But I can filter this. Let's find games that they played against. Where is it going to be? Opponent computer search. All right, a couple years ago, they were playing against level 7 of this AI here. Yeah, yeah. Bongo Cat's been around for a while, but this visual L2D or however it's implemented, it's free software. You can actually find this a rigging for this through GitHub. It's so compelling. I'm not one for putting my own face on this stream, but it's really cute seeing see the cat do it. So here, let's see. If who is playing white? Oh, okay, Yasser's playing white here. And wins by checkmate. So yeah, this was played a couple years ago. We see how white's eliminated a lot of threatening pieces in this vicinity. And it's putting, I don't know, I can't easily summarize what's going on here because this Crazy House is way too tactical for that. Okay, so this pawn is defended, so white adds another attacker while defending their king. At some point, I'll also touch on the Maya project. We'll probably get to that next. Oh, that's cool. So here, this black king is being strung out into the... You can see, we have the benefit of being able to see what Stockfish thinks of these positions. So like here, this starts to take a turn for an even worse than how it was doing here. So here, black, it's a tricky position. But exchanging pieces is just going to make things harder for black. But anyway, let's see the combination of how white managed to checkmate here. Because even though the game might be over our head, at least this much can make sense to us. But yeah, let's see. There's a whole community blog section out here where Maya was first announced. Do I have a way of being able... Oh, there's search the blog for Maya. Is this going to have the initial announcement? Um, hmm, interesting. So, yeah, they're, oops. Well, I guess some articles might be unlinked at some point. Um, but no, we go out there, we can see there's Maya 9, which is at some point was trained on human games, but I think they've since done their own like seeding. Um, oh, is nobody playing it at the moment? Let's maybe look at Maya 5 then. So people got tired of playing against Stockfish all the time and felt like it was a bit predictable. Um, well, that's unfortunate. Is Maya offline? Well, that's new. It's been online for years. They've been doing great research work. Um, uh, but yeah, so you can see some of the people who helped develop this system. Active 5 minutes ago. All right, so it's maybe, I don't know what it's doing. Maybe they're having technical difficulties at the moment. Um, but yeah, the Maya Chess project had a whole announcement. Um, Yeah, they have a neural network chess model that captures a human style as opposed to like Stockfish's style. So their objective is to try to emulate human behavior. Um, so this is a exciting research project in collaboration with our site. Although we didn't sponsor them or vice versa. We just gave them a platform to play on and a data set to learn from. Um, it's just crazy what can happen when um, passion people and passionate people learn things together. Um, so let's see. Yeah, so back to normal chess for a bit here. Oh, it's pretty exciting. I had hoped like to have more available about like my own uh proof of me walking through here's me coding this and all that, but I hadn't been able to string that together in time for this. All right. Um, but here we have a grandmaster playing black. I guess I could play some games too. We could watch me try stuff. Why not? So here's me just going to the general pool, playing a 3 minute game. Um, just to show that I can. Um, but yeah, I could also play some tournaments or puzzles or whatever else we want to do. Um, um, so this is the open Ruy Lopez open or Berlin variation. Queens get traded. They play like knight g5 or something like that. I might get my rear end handed to me here. Yeah, this knight c3 is the main move. Rook d1's popular. Let's put the king to the right here. Okay. And see if I can survive. This might be tough. Wait. Oh, wait. I underestimated this knight g5 here. If this pawn drops, I'm in doo-doo. So, oh, okay. Interesting. That is a way forward, isn't it? Um, hmm. Well, the rating system doesn't lie. We knew this was going to be a tough match. It's good that we have such an accurate rating system, though. Because when you go to the pool on the lobby page, pick out a random opponent. Yeah. Yeah, Seek's been around here, this channel, for a bit. Um, they know that I'm mostly doing shogi these days, but today um, we're playing the more popular game. I used to do chess. It's like first, I wanted to do stuff with speed running, but um, realized that might not be my calling. But then I realized, oh wait, I actually play chess. I could live stream that instead. I'm sure people would enjoy it. Um, so that was my introduction to live streaming. Let's trade off here, and then I can pick off the E pawn. Yeah, white has to take that, right? Oh, if I take the pawn, I lose a piece. So, oh, okay. Welcome back. Yeah, I decided to try my hand at playing a game here. Um, turns out chess is hard. Who knew? Um, so looks like I'm gonna have to trade off some pieces, get my king over here, and see if I can survive that. Um, White's got one hell of an initiative brewing. Wait. Oh, geez. Ouch. Okay. So earlier I was mentioning that a one pawn advantage is sometimes enough and sometimes not enough to win. It looks like white has two extra pawns here, but that's just because mine are doubled up over here. But, oh, wait. Can I pick up material here somehow? Oh, they have knight d8 check. Yeah, so I'm going to step out of the check. And I've trapped their knight. I'm a genius. Or not. Do I take the pawn or do I take the knight? If I take the knight, I lose, so I probably take the pawn. All right, so having quite undeservedly gotten back into the game here, how do we fully exploit this? So now we put the rook up in their face, threatening to pick off all the pawns and maybe, if they're not paying attention, surround their king. What other tricks might I have available here? Ouch. That sounds painful. Um, okay. I want to keep my pieces close to the middle. This is so tricky. Let's do this and pretend it's fine. Yeah, that's the problem. Um, hmm. We'll pick off this pawn and then race some of these pawns of our own. Okay, how do I make progress here? I could also repeat the position and survive with a draw, but where's the fun in that? I check, am I losing? Oh, actually, no. This is creative. Look at this. King goes there. I have this check. And then just accidentally this knight is hanging. Got him. There we go. Woo! Alright, we did it. Then if we're curious, like, what went right and what went wrong, somewhere here there's a button. Yeah, there's a computer analysis tab. You can request the server. You get so many requests per day, and it'll just automatically annotate the game for you if you're lazy. If you want to learn, analyze the game yourself and don't just rely on this. Oh no, yeah, that's so why they moved their king how they did when I checked them here. So yeah, you're asking, like, why did they walk into this fork, right? This is what had me stumped and thinking for, like, the past minute leading up to this. And it's good I did so many other puzzles. Like, why didn't they go this way? Right? Do we have thoughts from the audience as to, like, what would happen in this circumstance? It's not obvious at first. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you got it. You got it. So you have this other fork. So this is just kind of legendary that, just kind of accidental. Yeah. I'm sure, yeah, probably that works too. There might be more than one answer here. Chess positions almost always have more than one answer. Yeah, that's fine. We're all having fun here anyway. Knights are hard. Chess tactics are hard. We leave the stuff to the computers most of the time, but for some reason humans keep playing this game anyway. So apparently I messed up earlier in this opening. We could see just gradually the shifted from 0 point this to 0 point that to, like, I played a side variation. The most popular move here is just king back to the middle, and it's really difficult. But I played some iffy stuff. Then apparently I allowed some, like, game-winning tactic, and they just didn't trap my pieces correctly, and I escaped. It was a miracle, but anyway, such things happen. You can also see a move time graph of how long each player spent on all their moves. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there's a results-oriented way of thinking about the game. Oh yeah, I forgot we have, like, a live broadcast portal so you could, like, see. Here's Chinese Chess League Division A. Here's the Brazil Chess Series, whatever. Here's Israeli Open. Here's Cyprus. Here's, like, all these events from around the world. I'm just stunned. And then there's Top Chess Engine Evaluation, or TCEC. I forget what this is the computer league. So you can see all these games, various speeds being played. We've provided just protocols for people publishing their events online, and so many have been interested in putting them through this site. So anyway, yeah, our purpose is, again, just to promote the Video Game History Foundation. help raise funds and awareness for that. Even though that's separate from this site, and I'm not like pushing this site, I'm just saying like here's what can happen when scientists and passionate people come together and make great things happen. I'd like to see that happen for other folks too. So I made a browser user style that like looks up this opening position against a database and tells you the name of the opening. Um, it's my own secret sauce that I'm not allowed to publish. Yeah, yeah. This is yeah. Lichess is a great site. Um, so it's great that they've been so excited about collaborating with me over time. Um, so yeah, I'd like to see this level of excitement for every game out there. Um, chess and shogi and go and so forth. About half hour ago, I interrupted myself talking about AlphaGo and never got back to it. So um, you've probably heard of like the DeepMind Google AlphaGo challenge. Um, if not, yeah, it's what it sounds like. A team of researchers have been studying algorithms for planning and search and evaluation and things that are more tactical in nature. And there's several excellent documentaries about their research efforts. Um, that I forget if they drew upon inspiration from earlier papers and researchers too, maybe. That I don't recall, but um, regardless, they had first played against a European Go master. Somebody, I think they had a 2-Dan Pro title or rank. So this is a close Sicilian. We see the opening name here. So after playing against that pro, they tweaked their engine a lot and then did this YouTube live streamed competition that I think had 1 million live views or something. It was one of YouTube's most popular live streams ever. But people would tune in and watch like Go pros analyze games between the world's top human and the world's top engine. Are there still board games out there? So I think there are games, there are board games out there that like they just haven't implemented engines for. But over time, there are just better and better libraries. They're easier to use. Bishop b2. There we go. Black wins the rook, and that's that. So, yeah, there have been. I remember there were years ago, there was Arima, which was a game that was designed to be difficult for engines to analyze. Turns out, with enough passion and perhaps even sponsorship from research grants, I don't remember. Black fumbles at the finish line. That's unfortunate. So, yeah. Turns out if you have just enough power and enough hardware, enough time on machines, on CPUs and GPUs, it's kind of hard to make engines for that kind of stuff. years ago, somebody made some extension of this site where you could just flick the pieces across the board, kind of like what's the word for it? Like bowling. Your objective is to try to knock over the opposing king. And somebody like made a physics extension that you just chuck your pieces at the opponent's pieces. Which I guess technically is a board game, but the pieces would not necessarily line up on. Yeah, it was just like Tabletop Simulator. So we made an extension, and I hosted this extension on my own private server and live streamed it, and we were able to play it together. It was wild. Uh, yeah, so your objective is to knock over the opposing king and knock it off the board or something. Uh, so I guess technically that would be a board game. Yeah, this was called like Flick Chess, or I think it was inspired by, or at least Magnus Carlsen was a fan of it at one point. I don't know how much of a fan, but yeah, somehow I think this Flick Chess also had the, what's the Norwegian name for the game? Knippe Sjak, Knippesjaak or something. Which I guess technically is a board game, but more quantum in nature, I guess, because the pieces are in between the squares. Yeah, I was. Then years ago, there was, I forget if it was an MIT research team or somebody else that they made AIs that could play poker. So, like, if you can actually see on XKCD, there's a AI complexity comic or infographic that showed that, like, here's the list of games and their complexity. But yeah, there is one funny video of Kramnik playing against a chess robot, and he took a pawn and like halfway moved it up a square, and then touched the clock, and the vision of the robot wasn't able to determine which square the pawn was on, so it didn't register that he had moved. It's pretty funny. This robot's done other horrendous things, but we don't need to get into that. But no, yeah. But so like when it comes to humans beating engines at games, it turns out computing power is just so immensely powerful. And actually, if you go look at the chess competitions, like the Deep Blue matches with Kasparov, um, sure, the first time around. Oh yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, that sounds familiar. But yeah, if you look at Kasparov having played against Deep Blue, the first time it was outmatched hardware wise. Like chess engines were still kind of in their infancy. They hadn't found all the search and evaluation tricks that they all have today. And so he was able to even outcalculate it. Yeah. But then if we go look at the Deep Blue Kasparov rematch, which had the infamous Game 7 where he just blundered in the opening. And there are theories of, like, why did he allow this opening trap that every chess master knows about? Again, we don't need to get into all that, but I guess suffice it to say that, like, at some point in the match, he got fed up and questioning, like, whether the computer was getting assistance from human players. But if you actually read, there's a book behind Deep Blue by one of the code uh, developers, not the right word, like one of the engineers that helped make this Deep Blue rematch system so much stronger than the original. They were able to shine a light upon, like, here's all their research efforts and what they had to go through. Um, so they not only had a much stronger computer the next time around, but they've been doing specialized research with assistance from other chess masters to help them have the best data available. Um, but yeah, I think it was like game two or something in that match. There's some game in the rematch where the computer played a sacrifice that looked like something a human player might do. Where it's not a sacrifice that you immediately get pieces back for, and there's no immediate checkmate. It was just positionally giving up a pawn for continued pressure on the opponent's position. Or am I confusing that with the rematch after that? It's like X3D Fritz. I don't remember. But anyway, there came a point. There's just been so much interest in chess research in general because it's the game that just has gone around the world, really. Presumably having started in India, then going through Persia, then through Europe and to America and everywhere else. Um, oh wow, that's interesting. I'm not sure. Like, there's an MIT OpenCourseWare lecture about statistics, and talks about how like a Nash equilibrium is a strategy distribution. I'm not sure that throwing off a human is necessarily what randomization's about, but it could be. If they say it is, I take their word for it, but it could also be that just the equilibrium strategy for poker could be that, like, some. Oh, okay. There it is. Yeah. Yeah. That's something you definitely are not going to go publishing, at least not these days. Um, wow. So that's why they hid the code. That makes sense. Yeah, you don't want to release bad actors out there. Um, oh, interesting. So, yeah, chess engines are frequently supplied with opening books. Um, turns out a lot of these popular engine contests out there for AIs, they supply the opening book that both engines in a competition would use. So even if it used to be that the people developing the engines would also be the ones making the opening books, but um, eventually, for fairness' sake or for interest's sake, the event organizers decided it'd be more fun to have the engines play from a wide variety of positions instead of doing the same opening moves every time. And yeah, um, let's see. Eventually, they teach you to hypnotize players, right? You could do that. There is a bot. There's a website that's Rock Paper Scissors. You can go visit. I forget the name of the site, but obviously, one of the best strategies for rock, paper, scissors is just to make random moves. You can't do better than randomness in rock, paper, scissors, but there's a site out there you can play against an engine. I think it doesn't cheat. I think it's honest, but it wins against human opponents. So there's fun stuff out there if you just look for it. Um, but yeah, I should again mention our charity that we're raising for, the Video Game History Foundation. So they preserve, celebrate, and teach the history of video games. And they have archives that preserve more rare material for the study and advocacy. And their advocacy and educational outreach helps people learn about video game history together. So that's what we're here for. That's what the Tiltify tracker is all about. Even if you don't donate during this session, we're going to soon enough raid into other folks. We'll be going the rest of the day, I believe. And yeah, so that's what we're here for. Yeah, let's do our best. But yeah, obviously my perspectives, I'm passionate about all this stuff, but there's only so much our little site knows, so much I can do. The Math Museum, there's a machine where you can press left or right. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. That just shows like, yeah, people might think they're random, but this is why we leave science to the experts and why we have to support them instead of everybody making up their own science. Because even things that sound trivial often aren't. You have to be careful when designing systems. Yeah, so black's gonna checkmate here. White has no way to escape it. That's really funny. Yeah. Yeah, I guess if you roll the die to make the choice for you, you probably um should be 50-50. Although you might see ebbs and flows in the right, but yep. Mm. Yeah, it's amazing though, like um we're able to watch the top games of the players on this site. And let's see. Uh yeah, if you can crack pseudo RNG, you could produce something better. Um, so funny story about pseudo RNG versus secure RNG. Um, so turns out we had game identifiers, game IDs that players were uniquely assigned that we used at some point to help validate that things like a player's move or their request for a draw or resignation actually came from them. And we had been using just pseudo random number generation to produce those IDs. And we since switched to secure random generation to deal with an exploit where some hacker was resigning on behalf of some players. Took us a day or two to figure it out. Would have been nice if they gave us a heads up about it first, but yeah. So our code base, it's in Scala. It's a Java extension, or it's built using the Java virtual machine. But it used to be an academic language for functional programming that has actually found many practical uses and they've rewritten the language with Scala 3 to be easier to develop for and test for and so forth. Um, but they use our project, the Lichess codebase, to help test the stability of their compiler and development tools. Because there's just so freaking much code supporting this site. So when there's a bug, it's a fun exercise. Both us and the world's leading academic folks working on the language trying to figure out, okay, what's the bug? Of course, if we notice a bug and it's bad enough, we back out our changes in production. But oh, perfect repeating pattern. And then you learn something. Yeah. Oh, okay, wonderful. Yeah, I could engage the raid, or if you can, that's fine.